Hi, I'm Scott.
I'm Patty Carroll,
Throughout our cancer journey, we found that some of the people that shared important information to us wore white coats.
and some wore hospital gowns.
What we found in the end is we really needed both to have the full picture of what life would be like, both the medical side and the patient
The
side.
real people side.
What was life going to look like depending on the decisions that I made? So really, there's are two kinds of knowledge that are become important parts of a cancer journey. There's the medical knowledge, critically important, understanding what the different decisions that you make are going to mean for you medically. But the other kind of knowledge is that shared experience, that common experience, the people who have been there, done that, they've walked the road, they experience the pitfalls, they experience the successes and the failures, if you will. Both of them are really important. And one of the ways that we first learned that was when it first became clear that I was going to have my bladder removed. The idea of having a major part of your body like that removed is daunting. Yes, it's overwhelming at times. But ultimately, we learned that it would come down to three decisions because I decided that I did want to move forward and have my bladder removed because choosing not to was
You wouldn't be
going
here
to
today,
lead to an outcome that I wasn't willing to accept.
and I wasn't either.
And so we decided that we needed to learn more about this. So again, had a great doctor, and he took us through in great detail what was going to happen from the medical side. He could explain it to me medically, but ultimately he couldn't tell me much about what it was like to live with a neobladder or what I could expect as far as positive things, negative things. In fact, when I asked him about it, I remember he said, well, here. And he handed me a piece of paper. The piece of paper was for a support group for bladder cancer.
Yes.
It wasn't specific to neobladder. It wasn't specific to men. It was just a general bladder cancer support group, which is fine. And something that I'm sure can and would be valuable to many people. But for me, I felt the need to make a decision pretty quickly. In fact,
Well, that was
the
like 3
surgery
weeks out.
time was starting to come up. It was important for me to make that surgery so that we could confirm the appointment time, confirm the doctor that we were going to be using, and address the cancer that was inside my body as quickly as we could. And so I wanted to know what it was like to live with neobladder. He couldn't help me with that.
And we loved him. He was an awesome
He was great.
doctor.
But again, very typically, they're able to speak from the medical side.
Right, because they haven't had it done.
I needed the experience side. I wanted to know what it was like, what it meant, what the challenges were, what the risks were, that type of thing. And
how it affected our relationship. I mean, just everything.
And so at that point, when I did my research on the internet, I was learning that there really weren't, for me, any good resources to help me understand that. So what I ended up doing is that's when I decided to go pretty public about my battle.
Yes.
Figuring I really had nothing to lose. And that what I was hoping to find is someone out there in my group of friends and family on Facebook that knew someone that had a similar experience or that had chosen neobladder and was willing to talk to me. I was fortunate. I put it out to ultimately, between us, probably 2,000 or 3,000 people. And I had someone, it was a former high school classmate of mine, raise their hand and said, hey, my brother had that surgery and he'd be willing to talk to you. And so we talked, and I remember it vividly. His name was Richard. He had been through a neobladder surgery 3 or 4 years earlier, if I remember right. And it was wonderful to talk with him because he said, hey, I'm going to share the good, the bad, and the ugly. Because every decision a person makes has pros, has cons, and has things that are just downright or can be very serious. And I actually appreciated that. I appreciated that he wasn't going to sugarcoat.
Right.
That he was going to tell me everything.
A straight shooter.
Yep. And so it was interesting because as we had the conversation, we learned that he had just a textbook situation with his neobladder. He went through the surgery. He recovered well. He physically healed well. He too was relatively young. We talked about incontinence. We talked about sexual implications. We talked about just what it was like to go through the surgery. He helped me understand. He shared some things that nobody had shared with him that shocked him going through the process. One of the things being waking up after the surgery. He woke up after the surgery and discovered there were 7 different tubes coming out of his body for different things. There were drain tubes. There was the catheter tube. There were the air tube. There were a variety of different things. And I was so glad that he shared that with me because ultimately, when I woke up after surgery, I knew to expect that.
Well, that wasn't even taking consideration IVs and all the other things.
Well,
so it was like a lot. And so thank heaven he did.
It was great. But again, that helped me understand the importance of shared experience, talking to people who had walked that path, talking to people who had done what I was considering before me, so I could learn from them and their experience. I also had another opportunity to talk to someone else, also came through a Facebook contact. His name was Jamie. Jamie had the complete opposite situation. He had a very difficult time. In fact, he came through the surgery fine, but ultimately he didn't heal like Richard did. And his team ended up discovering that there was a urine leak inside his body. Unfortunately, that surgery takes physically so much out of a person that they weren't able to go back in and correct the leak.
Right.
So instead, he had to live with the consequences of feeling like he had the flu, feeling sick for 6 months before he was finally able to get the surgery to correct the leak, and life went on. What was interesting, though, is after talking with both of them told me that they had absolutely made the right choice for them. And it clicked that different people have different experiences. Different people have different expectations, different challenges, different priorities, and that just because they shared their experiences didn't mean that I needed to choose neobladder,
right,
or that I would have a great experience, or that I would have a terrible experience. It just opened up my understanding of what was possible, what could happen, and what things I might be faced with if I made that choice. But ultimately, talking to those 2 gentlemen gave me the confidence that I needed to know that that was the right choice for me, that neobladder was the right choice for me.
Went in with your eyes wide open.
Absolutely. And that was just so helpful to me. Basically, it helped us see around the corner. It helped us know what was ahead or could be ahead, depending on how my body reacted.
Right. Everybody's different.
That was just so valuable to me. One of the things, too, we discovered through this process is what it meant to be a caregiver. And sadly, that's what, that fell on Patty's shoulders.
Right. So when he was diagnosed, we moved from Washington State to California for his job. And so we'd only been in that house for a week. And then it was shortly thereafter that you had your first surgery. So I have been a caregiver in the past. I was a caregiver for my grandmother. She lived with us from her age of 92 to 97. And towards the last years, it was a lot of intense caregiving. And then my mom, I was in the final weeks of my mom's care. I was her caregiver. With Scott's, it was a totally different experience. At least here, when I was doing those things, I knew people because I was in the same town that I'd always been in. Now I'm in California and I don't know anyone. I know Scott. That was it. Met my neighbors. They were very nice. But I didn't know any other caregivers. I didn't have any resources to find those caregivers. So what I did was used my intelligence, if you will, and decided, hey, this is how I'm going to do it. And I'm going to look for resources online if I can. And I was very lucky. Scott and I are more of a team, a partnership, because he's able to do a lot. He's not as incapacitated as for my mom. So I wasn't in that part of caregiving. But since then, well, and at that time during the being a caregiver, I was exhausted. Let's face it. I was just drained because I was worried. I frequently would wake up in the middle of the night and put my hand over and make sure he's breathing. I would watch him. I still do that, but I watch him, and if he stumbles, what can I do? I just did things like that. Now we've been in this for quite some time, and I've met many caregivers throughout the last few years, and I've learned that everybody's experience is different, but it's good to know people. It's good to have someone to rely on. I could call my friends and say, hey, but they just didn't understand. They tried their best, but they really didn't understand what I was going through. Caregiving is a unique thing, especially if you're the spouse. Because if you're the spouse, you're not only caregiving someone, but you're also taking care of your husband or your wife. And it's something that can make you exhausted. So here's something that we do. I take what we call patty days or patty time. And that will be, even if I'm just gone for a couple hours, where I just unplug, no phones, no nothing, just do something. I don't even care. I could go grocery shopping, and just that break is so nice. But you need to take time for yourself, because you're not going to be effective if you're drained and exhausted. You're not going to be help at all.
It's kind of like they tell you in an airplane, right? Yeah. If the oxygen, the mask will release, and it always encourages you to put on your
first
before helping others. Because if you're not able to breathe, then you're not able to effectively help them. It's kind of a similar type situation with caregiving.
Yes,
if you don't take care of you, then you won't be able to effectively
So you really need to, and it's so funny because you think, well, of course I'm going to take care of myself. No, you have to work at it, because it's so easy to get caught up in the giving.
Even in my case, where I don't necessarily need a lot of physical care.
It's emotional. It's the mental.
It's the always knowing what's going on, always wondering what lies ahead. It was interesting. Through our process, we learned just as close as we are and as much as we share, we learn just how different the patient and the caregiver roles are. The patient experiences some things that a caregiver will never understand, will never feel, but also the same applies to the caregiver, because I am responsible for me. Here's a person who loves me, that wants to take care of me, wants to do everything that they can, but I will never understand what's going on inside her mind.
Right.
Understand all fully the burden that she carries in this partnership.
So the lesson here is take care of yourself. Reach out to those that can help you. Be careful of who you reach out to. I have some friends that, bless them, but they would say things that would get me more worried. Aren't you worried he's going to pass away? And I'm like, well, yeah, but I don't need to hear that right now. So
I think one of the things we have learned through this whole process is, again, how important shared experiences are, but also experience informs. So they will share, and people who have been through this, they'll share their experience. That doesn't mean that I'm going to have the same experience, or even
you're going to do the same thing.
Even make the same decisions. Yeah. Because we all have our own filters. We all have our own values.
Our own lifestyles.
Our own expectations of what that lifestyle looks like.
Well, it ages too.
But again, the experience informs. It helps us become better informed about the options, better informed about the pitfalls, better informed about what day-to-day life might look like.
Mhm.
But ultimately, each person needs to make the
You have
choice
to
that's
walk
right
your
for
own
them.
path.
Have to, yeah, absolutely decide which path. There are multiple paths.
Mhm.
Finding the one that's right for you is really the trick. It was hard for me to find those two people that did have experience
Mhm.
with NeoBladder.
And fortunately, they were willing to talk to you.
Absolutely. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to become a resource for other people that we can share our experience. Never with the idea that you will make the same or that they will make the same decisions that we will.
Maybe
Maybe
they
they
won't.
won't. But ultimately, just be a resource like Richard was,
Mhm.
like Jamie was,
Mhm.
so that they can become better informed or more fully informed so they can make the decisions that are right for them and
Yes.
their situation. So I guess one of the things that I would pose here as we close up this video is a question: who might be able to share experience with you that will help with your own challenge, your own situation, or maybe even your own cancer journey?